Hi, Deb here, and welcome to my President's Day show. I have a lot of President's dolls, but I'm only going to show 4. I'm featuring the Effanbee President's dolls. And let's start with the one and only Abraham Lincoln. This doll was made in it was 1983 and 84. Then they cut him off. As far as I know, Effanbee made also, of the ones I don't have, George Washington, Teddy Roosevelt, and Dwight Eisenhower. And President Eisenhower, they had him in his military uniform as opposed to as president, but it still counts, doesn't it? Anyway, this is good old Honest Abe. Please stay for the still pictures because particularly this doll is just wonderful. Now, I've seen him featured with a beaver hat, but I don't have one of those, and they don't look like they held up too well. They were probably made of felt, and so I like him just the way he is. I don't know why Effanbee didn't make all the presidents, but at any rate, they made some, and they were wonderful. My next is FDR. I thought he was missing his trademark glasses that just, what are they called? Pez something. That just set on his nose, but they're there. That's just like a little bit of cellophane. My goodness, I thought I dusted him off. Sorry, FDR. Didn't mean that. And he's missing his cigarette, but it's better that he doesn't smoke anyway. There he is in his double-breasted suit. Mama said when he passed away, she was just a little girl, and she said it was devastating because her entire life she had never known any other president. Can you imagine that? There were no term limits when FDR was president. He was elected 4 times, but of course he died in office in 1945. He's an inspiration to me because of his handicap. From what I understand, when he first got polio, even sheets on his legs hurt. Yet he put those braces on, and of course you wouldn't get away with that now because of social media and the press and everything, but he had to appear strong to lead people out of the Depression and during World War II. So there's very few pieces of video where he's walking with those braces were like 20 pounds each, and he swung his trunk so it looked like he was walking, but he couldn't walk. But at any rate, I went to Washington, D.C., and among all the wonderful exhibits, there was a special FDR exhibit, and it's split in 4 pieces. And I was posing. They had a statue of him in his wheelchair, and I was posing, and I have a nature of hiding my cane in pictures, and my brother said, "You really want to do that?" And it was kind of like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it? So, wish I could find that picture. I have it somewhere. Okay, he died in office in 1945, and Harry Truman took over. Harry Truman had been vice president from January 20th, 1945 to April 12th, 1945. He had had very few meetings with FDR, so he took over at a time of war, and a lot of people were nervous because, I don't know, Harry Truman, I don't know if he wasn't respected, or I know he was unpopular when he left office. There we go, that's better. But at any rate, he stepped in and took over, and I know he was my mother's favorite president and Jimmy Carter's favorite president. So I thought, I didn't know much about him, so I've read about him a lot since then, and I think it was the no-nonsense thing that appealed to them. The buck stops here. That's even on his tag, because he had that on his desk in the White House. Apparently, if he had to have a meeting with someone, he didn't call them to the Oval Office. He went to their office to talk to them, and people said, "Mr. President, you don't have to do that. They come to you." And he said, "Oh, no, I like to." He walked long after he was president, and he was quite an avid walker. And he took a road trip with his beloved Bess, Truman. And after he left the office, just got in the car and they drove all over the country. Can you imagine a president being able to do that now? Not likely. Oh, Harry was, this from 1988, and FDR was from 1985. I neglected to mention that. If you ever get a chance to see his grandson, Clifton Truman Daniels. I always get his name wrong. He's very funny, and he tells really, really good stories. I believe he even wrote a book. It's Growing Up Truman, I think it's called. So, every president had good and bad, but I like to focus on good. Just my philosophy of life. And here's the final one, is John Kennedy. I was going to do a great big video of all my president's dolls, but there's just too many, and I don't want to overwhelm everybody. So, but I noticed that that I have the most of are John Kennedy and George Washington, so maybe I'll do a separate show on them. But the John Kennedy doll was from '86. And again, watch for the still pictures because they're much better. And all my dolls still have their tags. I'm so happy about that, because it lists about a little biography of the presidents, and then when they produce the dolls. This one says to be produced for 1986 only. So they purposely limited these dolls. So I think they're wonderful. I love Effanbee dolls anyway, but it's too bad they didn't continue on this. Unless they did and I don't know about it, let me know if that's the case. So I hope you enjoyed this little President's Day visit, and there will be more if you want to see more. And I hope you like and subscribe to my videos. And I'm also on Instagram. I always post a picture there and just make you aware that there's a new video up. So I do hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful President's Day if you celebrate it. And until next time, toodles!